Tonight on Evening Edition, gas prices are hitting a 5-year high. What's causing the prices to soar and why experts warn the worst is yet to come. Then we're stepping into the 1800s.
We have a lot of cool stuff down here that the public had never laid eyes on.
A look at San Diego's rich history and underground archives. Plus, we're meeting the man who's bringing art to baseball stadiums across the nation, including Petco Park. And from comedy to cats, we take a look at the best shows happening this weekend. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. It's Friday, April 19th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. Get ready to pay more for fuel. California gas prices are at a 5-year high. Analysts say it's a perfect storm of trends and policies. This week, AAA reported that California now has the highest average gas price in the country at $4.02 a gallon. Analysts say the spike comes from closures of several California refineries for maintenance. They say the prices are only expected to go up, with state policies fueling a portion of the price hike. Analysts say policymakers should make changes.
That should be our focus. Is this the way to go? You know, should government really be kind of adding to the pain that these motorists are feeling at the pump?
On average, Californians pay more than 72 cents per gallon in total state and federal gas taxes, the second highest in the nation behind Pennsylvania. Well, the Plaza de Panama project in Balboa Park is officially dead. Qualcomm co-founder Irwin Jacobs said the committee notified the city yesterday. The project would have renovated the center of the park, clearing out all cars. Legal challenges stalled financing and development plans. Project supporters say they hope the city will now focus the original funds raised on a broader plan for the park. Irwin Jacobs is a longtime sponsor of KPBS. The city of San Diego stores archives that date back to the 1850s. KPBS reporter Claire Tragesser gives us a glimpse inside, where stacks of papers trace back to the city's history, back to a time when it was owned by Mexico.
Floor 2, going down.
Take a ride down the elevators at 202 C Street, San Diego City Hall, and you'll end up in the basement.
Basement, going up.
Then walk down a long white hallway that's very, very clean and through a nondescript door. You'll end up in a magical place filled with boxes and boxes of city council resolutions, records of property ownership, old cemetery maps, and ordinances from the 1800s, back when Mexico owned San Diego. This is the City of San Diego's archives.
We have a lot of cool stuff down here that the public had never laid eyes on.
Sheila Beal is the Deputy Director of Archives and Records Management for the city, and she kicks off our archives tour.
And so a lot of these precious, historical, fragile books and materials just lay dormant.
We would hire the most wonderful archivist on the planet.
In 2013, Liz Malin, the city clerk, got $50,000 in funding for the archiving program by reminding people what the city had basically in its basement that was forgotten about.
That's when the light went on for me, and I was like, people can't care about something unless they know it exists.
Now she preserves and stores historic documents and also makes the archives accessible to the public. About half of her budget goes to paying a part-time archivist, Jerry Hanfield.
All civilizations have had record keeping. The only difference in those days is that record keepers were among the highest paid officials.
Hanfield and other members of the city clerk staff walked us through what the city archives have.
These are ordinances from the time when Mexico governed San Diego.
He also showed us census books from the 1800s, cemetery records including Chinese and Masonic burial grounds, and books recording property ownership, all written out by hand. Some of these are stored in the cold vault, a special refrigerated room kept at 68 degrees. Paper stored at 68 degrees lasts twice as long as when it's stored at 72 degrees.
It's the best place to be, in the basement. You can hide in here, but don't stay too long.
Patrice Percy, who works for the city clerk's office, shows us around. The vault is filled with stacks of boxes, and each of those are filled with endless pieces of paper. And there are leather-bound books that look like they belong on the set of Game of Thrones.
A lot of the earliest records from the city are in here because we have a lot of the old books, documents, resolutions, ordinance.
In fact, they have 306,964 council resolutions, and that only goes up to 2017. City staff are also working to scan and categorize more than 1 million negatives and photos. They have about 50,000 done so far, which are searchable on the city's website. Another part of the job is storing the documents that are essential to city government.
Every government has records, but in a democracy, we want to make them accessible. It enables them to have trust in their institutions. They trust the city council if they can see the records that the city council is seeing too.
That means the city clerk's office works with every council office and every city department to let them know what records need to be stored and for how long. And yes, they keep paper copies of everything, says Liz Mayland, the city clerk.
I'm the official record keeper for the city, and I'm tasked with keeping things forever and ever. Amen.
So they have multiple cold vaults in different locations downtown where they store the records. That and a site underground in the salt mines in Kansas. Yes, really. At the end of our tour, the city archivist Jerry Hanfield points out a quote from the city council minutes back in 1850.
They designated an iron safe be appropriated to the clerk for the safekeeping of the city archives.
Today, the storage is a little bigger than one iron safe, but the idea is basically the same. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
If you know of more archives we should visit, email us at investigations@kpbs.org. Well, it's graduation day for more than 40 local veterans, wounded warriors, and transitioning military members. Today, Workshops for Warriors held a graduation ceremony for its 2019 class. They're now certified for advanced manufacturing jobs. Once service members leave the military, some find themselves in careers where their skills are no longer needed. Workshops for Warriors trains and certifies its members to help them find jobs. Today's graduates celebrated the beginning of a new path.
Today is a day worthy of celebration, and like all of you, we're really proud of the 41 men and women graduating today. Hashtag Women in Advanced Manufacturing. Hashtag Felicia and Claudia are awesome. Hashtag Workshops for Warriors Spring 2019 graduates are certified, capable, and ready to change the future of American manufacturing. Hashtag congratulations, hashtag applause.
Workshops for Warriors was founded in 2008. Festival season is underway, and lawmakers want to make sure these events don't result in a sea of trash. They've introduced legislation that would allow consumers to bring their own reusable containers to events like fairs or outdoor concerts. Event vendors would also be able to serve food and drinks using their own multi-use washable containers. Lawmakers say current law prohibits this. They say it causes tons of single-use containers to end up in landfills or on the ground.
We're giving options. We're giving options for event organizers to be green, to minimize the trash that's created. It's better for our environment. It's better for the neighborhoods where these events are happening.
The measure passed the Assembly floor earlier this month and moves next to the vote in the Senate. We can expect sunny, mild weather this Easter holiday. Meteorologist Dajia Swad has our forecast.
As we continue through tonight, we're going to be watching our marine layer deepen into your Saturday. This is due to an upper level trough that's going to continue to nudge its way down and also allow for a more onshore flow. So coastal areas going to notice the clouds, and then they'll continue to move inland. We'll also notice some windy conditions and towards the mountains and deserts for your weekend. Mostly cloudy skies tonight in San Diego with a low of 60. close to average. We're usually sitting in the mid to upper 50s, so not too bad. We're looking at a low 52 in Oceanside, 64 in Borrego Springs, and 45 in Mount Laguna. Once again, coastal areas definitely noticing the clouds. A few clouds as you head into Borrego Springs and Mount Laguna, and we'll continue to see the chance for those clouds to fill on in. Now, cool air really going to be noticeable for tomorrow across California, especially as you head in towards those coastal areas. That upper level trough going to be filtering in the cooler air, also to be ushering in some showers and some thunderstorms out towards Northern California and towards Nevada as well as Utah, but remaining warm for Arizona. We're looking at a high of 66 in San Diego, 66 in Oceanside, 87 in Borrego Springs, and 59 in Mount Laguna. So not feeling too terrible out there, but going to be cooler compared to earlier this week. And then into Sunday, we'll continue to watch that cool air settle in as our jet stream dips further south. So for your Easter Sunday, cool here but dry. If you're traveling, here's a look across the nation. Wet for the Northeast and also wet into the Rockies, extending into portions of the Great Lakes. For the next several days, we'll be looking at highs in the 60s for the coast with low clouds. Then those clouds will dissipate as we have high pressure building in for your Monday, Tuesday, and continuing into your Wednesday, and temperatures also rising. We're going to see that same forecast in towards the inland areas. Cool conditions for the weekend, and then beautiful warm air returning into your Monday through Wednesday with highs into the 80s. We'll cool down even into the desert. Sunday, a high of only 78, and then by Tuesday, back into the 90s with lots of sunshine. Some clouds building in for the mountains. Once again, some breezy conditions as well. Temperatures due to warm into the mountain areas for next week as well. Reporting for KPBS News, I'm your meteorologist, Daji Swad. Back to you.
San Diego is known for its great weather, beaches, and family attractions. Now you can add Live Nation concerts to the list. The entertainment company known for putting on mega shows is set to buy the observatory in North Park. That's one of the topics we'll be covering for today's Friday Business Report. And joining us now is Miro Kopik with SDSU and Bottom Line Marketing. So Miro, how significant would it be for San Diego to have Live Nation events?
Well, San Diego has Live Nation events. Live Nation is the biggest concert promoter in the country. But what this does is Live Nation is starting to buy actual small to mid-sized theaters like the Observatory here in San Diego. They also bought the Santa Ana Observatory at the same time. They're about a 1,000-seat theater. And what this allows Live Nation to do is really bring in acts before they come up to LA. You know, a lot of times acts kind of bypass San Diego. This is a great opportunity for Live Nation. Part of what they're doing, though, is that they're kind of going really through the vertical value chain for promoting concerts, from owning the venue to all the way to the concert promotion itself, which is a little bit different for them because now they're getting real estate in their portfolio. They own 78 venues across the country, but as an organization, they put on 25,000 shows across 1,700 venues. But this is really important because for San Diego and San Diego music lovers, you're going to get a lot of up-and-coming bands. You're going to get a lot of well-known celebrities who like kind of intimate shows. Like they range, you know, the bands like Morrissey and Marilyn Manson do this a lot. When Tom Petty was alive, he would do it with his band called Mudcrutchers, and they'd find these 1,500 square seat, you know, venues to do these shows. And because Live Nation gets the best acts, we're going to get a lot better music scene here in San Diego.
Awesome. Also out this week, the ride-hailing service Lyft has announced a new app, a new feature that's supposed to make it easier for people to hail a Lyft from the San Diego airport. What does this mean for its competitors like the taxis and Uber?
You know, that's a great question. This is they're doing, in essence, a high-tech taxi line. And, you know, right now, if you're going to hail a Lyft or an Uber at the airport, there's an area on the island in the middle of the airport. You have to go out and you have to find your car as it comes in, and you're dodging traffic, you're dodging other passengers. But here, basically, they're setting up a taxi line. When you order a Lyft, you get a 4-digit code. You just go in line, and it's going to be much faster than waiting 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes for your ride to arrive. you match the code with the driver and off you go. And from a winning perspective, consumers are the winners. At the end of the day, Lyft is a huge winner because this is something innovative. San Diego is the first city they're doing this in. They're doing it in Terminal 2 beginning in about a week. And what this allows them to do is not only do things a little bit differently, but also they're going to be very competitive. That these Lyft drivers now are going to be, it's going to be much more attractive to drive Lyft than Uber. The downside, as you just mentioned, the taxi companies, this was their last big bastion. If you needed a ride right away, there was a taxi line, you got in a cab and you went. And now you could do that with Uber in exactly the same way. It's going to really hurt the taxi companies, and it's going to hurt Uber.
And finally, Qualcomm and Apple have settled their ongoing patent dispute. What does this mean for San Diego-based Qualcomm?
You know, this was a huge win and a big week for Qualcomm. You know, as one of our 2 Fortune 500 companies, they settled a 2-year patent war with Apple, both agreeing on to just cease and desist all litigation. They were suing each other all over the world, and they signed a 6-year agreement with Apple to supply them with 5G chips.
So huge implications from this settlement this week.
This is big news and good news for Qualcomm. Their stock price has been up over 35%, adding nearly $30 billion in market capitalization value. So Qualcomm shareholders are very happy as well.
So that is a nice place to wrap up our Friday Business Report. Mira Kopik, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ebony.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, Congress issues a subpoena for the full Mueller report after the release of the redacted version. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
There's an artist traveling the country to capture America's favorite pastime: baseball. The painter also covered the Padres and Petco Park. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman spoke with him about his motivation.
Now drives one the other way. Blackman going back, looking up. It is gone. A home run.
While the Padres were hitting home runs Monday, there was a different type of craft going on in the stands.
This park I've always wanted to come to just because of the backdrop here. I thought, I want to be up there behind home plate somewhere and be able to capture the buildings and the city of San Diego.
Andy Brown is an artist who was born near London and now lives in South Korea.
So that was Coors Field, the Rockies versus the Dodgers.
He's embarking on a project to paint all 30 Major League Baseball ballparks.
To me, baseball's a game with just so much depth to it. There's like so many levels, and I always feel like I'm learning something new with it, and it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and there's great history and great characters and great ballparks.
2-2. Driven to center field. Desmond going back, looking up. Myers has left the building.
Brown has been to a handful of ballparks and says people have been supportive of his project.
It's really nice to see people's belief in what I'm doing and people's enjoyment in what I'm doing. And it can be very young fans. You know, I had a little girl come up to me and tell me she was an artist as well, and we had to talk about art. And then I get all sorts of different people come and talk to me about it.
Brown hopes to paint all 30 MLB ballparks by the end of this season. He then plans to display his artwork near the Baseball Hall of Fame.
At the end of the trip, I'm going to kind of finish up on the East Coast, so I want to take him to Cooperstown. And I want to have him in an exhibition there at the Hall of Fame or at a gallery nearby.
There's a hot shot, picked it short by Tatis, who gets up and throws to first in time.
Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Andy Brown also visited the Tijuana Toros Stadium, where he was invited to throw out the first pitch. And tonight he'll be painting during the A's game in Oakland. And speaking of baseball, 2 brothers have found a very unique way to make some extra money. Tonight, Marketplace shows us how their doodles are helping them pay off their student loans.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Bo.
And we're the Baseball Card Vandals.
Baseball Card Vandals, decent jokes on worthless cards. We draw on old cards. It's absurd.
For no reason.
Hopefully it's funny. You know, we started Baseball Card Vandals as a art project, a kind of passion project. We sell them base price at $35, but the ones we really love, and it's going to be hard to say bye to, we go $50. We don't make a killing off of Baseball Card Vandals. We have to have full-time jobs. We're doing this at night, on the weekends. We've been artists ever since we were kids. So at some point, the common cards that weren't worth any money, that we're kind of swimming in as kids because we had so many of them, we just picked up markers and started drawing on them.
It's the best part-time job in the world.
Yes.
When I first saw this card, I was thinking, okay, he's got to be on some sort of bike or something. I put him on a scooter and said, there's got to be a better way to commute.
The Barry Jones 1987 tops. He's clearly looking at the numbers.
What does it say?
It says bad day for the Dow Jones. Basically, for the first 2 years that we were actually started making money from Baseball Card Vandals, I just took all my earnings from it and just put it on my student loans, and that I never thought I would pay off. And very, very lucky and fortunate that drawing on baseball cards paid off my college.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I just want people to laugh and appreciate what we're trying to do, which is make each other laugh. It just feels good to just continue being a kid in this way.
You can see more stories like that one at marketplace.org. British filmmaker Mike Leigh is best known for his contemporary dramas, but he turns to a turbulent 19th century England for his new film, Peterloo. KPBS film critic Beth Accomando has this review.
Since times are so hard.
Director Mike Leigh tackles the period drama of Peterloo with the same sense of realism and authenticity that he endows his films about England's modern-day working class. The film builds to a rally by pro-democracy and anti-poverty protesters in 1819 that turned tragic when the cavalry charged into a crowd of more than 60,000 men, women, and children. The film explores the power of words and how words are sometimes the action, or ripple, needed to start a movement towards change.
We demand that our suffering cease. Now is the time for action. Now!
Peterloo is a thoughtful, humane, and passionate look at a chapter in British history that still resonates for contemporary audiences, as it considers political strategies and questions of what ends justify what means. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
The San Diego Shakespeare Society hosts its 14th annual San Diego Student Shakespeare Festival tomorrow. It starts at 12:30 p.m. in Petco Park. The event is free. Hundreds of students K through 12 will perform scenes from Shakespeare on 4 outdoor stages on the Prado. 2 modern comedy greats visit San Diego this weekend. Ali Wong and Mark Maron, plus the musical Cats, is back with a new staging and costumes. Here with more is KPBS Arts editor Nina Guerin.
Ali Wong is the hottest ticket in San Diego. The stand-up comedian, writer, and actress returns to town for 7 performances of her Milk and Money tour.
It's very rare and unusual to see a female comic perform pregnant, because female comics don't get pregnant.
There's good reason why she's so beloved. Wong is the kind of comedian who really does tell things the way they are, whether it's about growing up Asian, the realities of motherhood, or marriage. For this show, expect the kind of comedy you saw in her Netflix special, Ali Wong Baby Cobra. This time, though, she isn't pregnant, but she still has plenty of real-life anecdotes and outrageous jokes. There's another high-profile comedian in town, Mark Maron, creator and host of the WTF podcast. He'll be performing at the American Comedy Company.
I don't know what kind of person you are, but if everything's going well, there's some voice in my head that's just saying you're going to screw it up.
Along with his podcast, Maron is known for his role in the Netflix show Glow and his own scripted IFC comedy, Maron. He's been writing and performing stand-up for more than 2 decades. His humor is honest, often full of angst, but it gets to the heart of everything from politics and relationships to food anxieties and owning cats. Speaking of cats, the iconic Broadway musical is back with updated costumes and choreography. Created by Andrew Lloyd Webber, this musical about cats trying to get reborn is the kind of show people either really love or really hate. Those who love it adore songs like Memory, the over-the-top costumes and makeup, and the vivacious dance numbers. Then there are those who don't really understand what's going on and can't get behind singing cats, named Jenny Anydots and Rum Tum Tugger. Where do you fall in the great cats debate? For KPBS Arts, I'm Nina Guerin.
Why San Diego is reviving its ban on living in cars, the plan to speed up a vote on expanding the convention center, and Qualcomm buries the hatchet with Apple. Join us for the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. And tonight we leave you with a concert at the Belly Up. You can catch the next episode of Live at the Belly Up on KPBS at 11 tonight. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Her face is a map of the world, is a map of the world. You can see she's a beautiful girl, she's a beautiful girl. Everything around her is a silver pool of light. People who surround her feel the benefit of it, pain. She holds you captivated in her pain. Suddenly I see, this is what I wanna be. Suddenly I see, why the hell it means so much to me. This is what I wanna be. Suddenly I see, why the hell it means so much to me. And I feel like walking the world, like walking the world. She lies to leave you hanging on a word. Suddenly I see, this is what I wanna be. Suddenly I see, why the hell it means so much to me. This is what I wanna be. Suddenly I see, why the hell it means so much to me.